Hello friends, my name is Lauren and I am the maker behind Vintage Knitting Party. I am so excited to talk to you today about all of the things that I made in 2022. There are some things which are not on this rack, which are like homewares, accessories, clothing for my partner, clothing that I made for gifts that I have now passed along, but this is most of it. Look how big this rack is. This is crazy. I do want to start off by saying that this is a huge amount of clothing. Like, as I have taken this out of my wardrobe, she's looking very naked in there right now. There's just a bunch of t-shirts and jeans in there. I acknowledge that this is a lot to own in the first place, and I also acknowledge that this is a lot to accumulate in 1 year. Before I launch straight into it, I want to let you know that a lot of what I make, I try to do in a sustainable way. I also spend a lot of time thinking about what it is that I want to make and thinking about how it will fit into my wardrobe and practically fit into my life. I don't buy clothing new anymore, really. I think I did have a think about it. I looked through my bank accounts. I think in the last year I bought underwear, activewear, I bought some shoes, and I think I bought some basics, like some t-shirts and sweaters, like mock necks and things secondhand at an op shop. So I don't buy dresses new. I mostly just make them myself now, which I'm very, very excited about. And I'm really excited to give you the tour and take you through. We will be handing out some awards along the way. And I also think it is worth mentioning that this is everything that I successfully made. There were a lot of tears throughout the year, and there were a lot of things that have not made it to the rack, either because they didn't fit properly, I didn't plan the project well enough and I didn't use the right fabric, or I tried to make something that just wasn't my style and it just, I don't know, sometimes things just happen. I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes sewing works, sometimes it doesn't. These are the things that worked. The first item that I'm going to be showing you is this wonderful dress. This is the Leah dress by Sew Over It UK. I modified, okay, let me just stop waving it around and actually show you. I kept the bodice as is. I kept the sleeves the same. The skirt I made long with a little ruffle on the end, and instead of making the like princess seamed and then gored skirt pattern that the Leah dress normally is, I made it a ruffle skirt. I still have the button placket that goes all the way down, but I just thought a ruffle would be really, really comfortable and really easy to wear. This is made from a cotton linen blend that I got from Spotlight. The buttons are all secondhand, and it's one of my favorite things about the dress that no two buttons are actually the same. I just went through my giant jar of buttons that I got for like 50 cents that are all completely different, and I picked out 10, I think, black buttons which are about the same size. They look great, like when you just look at the dress you can't tell, but when you go close up you can see that they're all a little bit different. And this dress actually gets the award for the most worn dress. I made this to wear to my first day at my new job. It's the dress that I took my professional headshots in for the website. And I probably wear it once a week, to be honest, and that was a year ago now. It still looks incredible. The stitching is holding up really well. I finished the seams really nicely. I don't know what it is about this dress. Something about it is just really comfortable to wear. I wear it in all seasons. It always makes me feel really good about myself, and that's what you want in your clothing, so I'm definitely going to be making more of these. The second item that I have to share is a knitted item. We are not going in any particular order, by the way. I pretty much just put these in order of color. This little cardigan, there she is, so beautiful. I made this with yarn that I got secondhand. I got 20 balls of mohair, like a mohair blend, and I made this from a pattern from the 1980s. The buttons I also got secondhand, and they just are the perfect color and shape. I'm so happy with how they turned out. I finished this right at the end of winter, so I didn't get a huge amount of wear out of it in Brisbane, but we went for a trip to South Australia and it was really chilly, and this was my piece of knitwear that I took with me. I wore it every day and it was super warm even though the temperatures were very, very small. This next piece is a shirt. This is a cotton linen blend, again from Spotlight. I love the color of this gingham. I think it's so cute. It's a button-down style, and from memory, this is McCall's 8180. I really loved the Bakerloo blouse that everyone on Instagram seems to have been making for the last 6 months. And I loved this big color trend and I wanted to give it a go. I think I might have gotten this pattern secondhand. I think that's why I ended up using it instead of the Bakerloo blouse, because normally I would never want to support McCall's over an indie pattern designer, but I had it anyway, so I thought I'd give it a go. I think this is the first garment that I'm sharing that has my little handmade label inside. I'm not starting a clothing label. I will not be selling clothing with this label on it. I basically just got some labels printed just to make up a brand exclusively for the clothing that I wear as an individual. I just thought it would be a cute thing to do. Here's a little close-up of the label. It says Juniper, the label. She's very cute. This is exclusively for me to use. I have no copywriting, I have no branding, I haven't bought a website, I will not be doing any of those things. But in saying that, I've already had 2 small brands steal the design. So don't do that, please. Let me have one thing for myself. This little number is a self-drafted button-down shirt that I made with a scrap of a viscose blend, I think. I got it from The Nest, which is a community-run organisation that has a haberdashery op shop. It is like a dream. It's my favourite place on earth. I'm really happy with how this turned out, but I wish I hadn't interfaced the collar. I know it would have been risky to not interface it because this fabric is so loosey-goosey. And sorry, drapey is the proper term. But I think the interfacing just made it a little bit too stiff. I used light interfacing. It's meant for light fabrics, but it still ended up being, yeah, incredibly rigid. But we've got these cute little shirred sleeves. It looks really cute on. And I made this using a reference photo that I found on Pinterest. And I can't actually believe how close this is to my reference photo. The only difference I think is that mine has turned out quite blousey and big. So it's cute with like skinny pants and things, and like tucked into skirts and stuff like that. But I think the reference photo is a little bit more fitted, and that's fine. This little number is a shift dress that I made with a 1960s reproduction pattern. I will post it here on the screen, but it's really cute. I love the structure that this fabric has. I am pretty sure it's an upholstery fabric and I probably wouldn't recommend that for garment sewing, but I knew that I specifically wanted a piece of clothing that was basically outerwear. This I wear like a pinafore with sweaters underneath, blouses. I wear it layered with sweaters on the top, tights, boots, all of the things. It really, really served me during winter. And my favorite thing I think about it is that this pattern is so structured. It's got multiple darts along the bodice and it's got darts in the back as well. So because the fabric is so structured, she really sticks out like an A-line shape. It has a really nice vintage look. I finished the sleeve opening and the neck opening with bias tape, and I just have an invisible zipper down the back. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I would really like to make this pattern in a summery fabric as well with a little collar. I just think that would be so cute. I would definitely recommend this pattern. It had like 10 inches too much ease around the middle, which is usually an area that I have to worry about, but I would just recommend checking the size before you actually cut out your fabric, because I had to take a huge amount out of this and it was kind of annoying, but otherwise beautiful. The next piece that I have to share with you is something that I'm sure you've seen if you've spent more than 5 seconds with me. This is my most recently completed vintage knitting project. It is an original pattern from the 1940s and it is the Felina sweater. You can knit it as well. I have the pattern available on my web store. She's beautiful, pale pink fingering weight yarn that I got secondhand. I played the ultimate game of yarn chicken. I have 3 buttons in the back here, and I'm fairly certain I got these 3 buttons for 15 cents. It's a pretty good deal. They're a pretty good color match, so I'm happy with that. This next piece is the floor dress by Bella Loves Patterns. I am obsessed. I love everything about this dress. It has pockets, so cute. It has a ruffle all the way down the bottom. It ties around and fastens at the side. We've got princess seams in the bodice with these beautiful flouncy bits. And I've stuck my little label in there as well. I'm even really happy with the way the matching bias tape turned out around the neck and around the armholes. And I would love to make this pattern again in all different colors, all different fabrics. I want to make the top version. I want to make this, but then with lace up the princess seam sticking out instead of a ruffle. I want to make everything. I love this dress. I made this using a doona cover that I got from an op shop. You can see that the outside and the underside of the doona, like each layer of fabric, was slightly different. So I used one for the skirt, which is where these stripes are, and I used one for the blouse, which is this beautiful floral pattern. And I just think the colors are so pretty. This is probably the most feminine piece of clothing that I own. Sometimes I think it's a bit too princessy, but I don't know if that exists. It makes me want to like dance through a field of flowers. It's so beautiful. This dress is the next piece that will be getting an award, and this award goes for the best fabric and pattern match. There are some things that I would like to change about this dress, but the fabric and the pattern paired together is not one of them. This is McCall's M8036, I'm pretty sure. It is a beautiful little dress. I'll just show you close-ups, that comes across with the buttons and then sort of like diagonally does like a faux wrap and then goes back down the skirt. I really need a steamer, so I'm sorry these sleeves are so wrinkly. I only have an iron. But she's got these beautiful giant sleeves that just look incredible on. It's a really beautiful midi length. Like I love it. I wear it to work all the time. It is a very close runner-up for one of my most worn pieces. The only thing I think I'm a little bit sad about is that I didn't overlook the facing when I joined the facing to the bodice pieces. I just understitched it and I pinked it. But because this is a cotton linen blend, she's very prone to fraying, and every now and then I have a piece of thread flake away and I'm just so scared that the whole dress is going to disappear on me. But it's beautiful. The one thing I would say to watch out for with this pattern is that many of the pieces of the skirt are cut on the bias and it is very prone to stretching out. I actually think this ended up quite a bit bigger than it did when I cut it out, which wasn't a bad thing because when I've made this pattern since, it's ended up a little bit on the smaller side and that's been dangerous territory. So make sure you do your stay stitching, listen to the instructions, they're there for a reason. This piece wins the award for the fanciest dress of the year. I put so much love into this dress. I made it for my cousin's wedding. We went down to see her get married in regional South Australia. It was the most beautiful day. I'm so happy for her. And it was a really beautiful excuse to make a really fancy dress. This is the Rosaria dress by Vicky Sews. She's got giant sleeves. They're so big. She's got a ruffle around the waist and then these beautiful ruffles in the skirt, a button placket down the front and an invisible zipper down the back. I made this using fabric from the fabric store. This is probably the most I've ever spent on fabric, but I do think for a project like this, it was worth it. And I needed to buy something, like I needed to have a huge amount of fabric and I needed to make sure that it was the right consistency. So it was really hard to source this secondhand, but I'm really happy with what I went with. Next up, I have another McCall's 8036. I made this one using thrifted fabric that has a really good amount of structure. I don't know what this fabric would be used for. I would say that it's stiffer than a quilting cotton. It is next level. So the sleeves are sleeving. They look great. I made covered buttons and I'm really happy with how this one came out. I think I might have made a little bit of a shorter length because I ran out of fabric and I haven't gotten a huge amount of wear out of this one. I think she's a little bit snug and I think to remedy that, I can probably just move the buttons across a little bit because it's completely a button closure. There's nothing else about it. And I have a little bit of wiggle room where I can move them a little bit without really adjusting the fit too much. So I think I might just move the buttons and see how I feel about it. This dress is also the Vicky So's Rosaria dress, and it was actually a practice run that I made before the one that I wore to the wedding. I made it out of a thrifted bedsheet. Oh, it looks so pretty on camera. Oh, it's got these gorgeous little flowers on it in orange, green, and blue. I love the colors. Some of the bedsheet had a bit of fading on it, so I just made sure to use those pieces for the ruffles so that it's a little bit less noticeable. We've still got beautiful covered buttons. The ruffle on the skirt is exactly the same. I made everything exactly the same as the finished garment. I'm really happy with how this came together. I think the only difference is that these sleeves are shorter, which I'm actually really happy I did. I did it because I ran out of fabric, I'm not gonna lie. But I put elastic in the ends of them, and when I wear this dress, I just scrooch them right up, and the sleeves look so cool and puffy. And because this is cotton, it is a really wearable dress for the summertime, but it still feels really fancy. So it's the perfect Christmas party dress. It's the perfect like barbecue with friends dress, afternoon lunch. Like it's a really nice dress to wear to feel pretty, but without feeling like I'm overheating, which I need more of in my life, to be honest. So I'm really happy I made this one. This piece wins the award for the most sustainable piece of clothing that I've made this year. Not a single thing about this, except for the label, was new. So the thread, I got secondhand. The buttons, the pattern, the fabric, obviously. The fabric is actually 3 different remnants that I got from 3 different places, but I think 2 of them are the same. So you can see that the top is a little bit of a different color to the bottom, but you can tell a lot on camera, but I swear in person you can barely tell. It actually almost looks like a design feature. I'm so okay with it. I don't even care. The pockets are made from plaid remnants, and they look so cute when they poke out. I just love a shirt dress. I made this, again, using a reference that I found on Pinterest, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I thought if I had a dress like that in my life, I would wear it all the time. Now I have another piece of knitwear for you, but this one's a little bit different. This one isn't for me, but I've decided to include it because I have made 8 of these vests this year. I think not this particular vest, but of this style of vest. This one I actually made with a beautiful mohair, and the only reason I still have this one is because I haven't listed it for sale yet. So essentially, this is a very classic vest pattern. It's inspired by a style from a 70s pattern book, but I basically use maths and the scrap yarn that I have on hand to make a certain size. I have like a little formula guide for myself. It's not a well-written pattern. I probably won't be releasing a pattern for this, but I know that a vest like this will come up in a make, do and mend video, and I know I will potentially be sharing like the stitch count like that I used for that pattern and the guide for that particular vest that I'll be making in that video. So I will share whatever information I have about it, but it's just not a comprehensive pattern. I usually do custom vests and I will just make it to someone's measurements, basically. But this one, I had all of this delicious mohair left over, and I just thought I would knit her up into a gradient vest. I'm so happy with how it turned out. She's lovely. Now we've just got a couple left, so hang in there. This is my third and final M8036 dress. I made this with a piece of linen that I got from the fabric store. I felt so fancy buying it. It was there as a remnant when I went to get the fabric for the Rosaria dress that I made for the wedding that I attended. But there was not a lot of fabric there, so I'm very surprised that I managed to make this. She's a little bit of a shorter kind of option. I used the sleeves from the Leah dress, and I just think they look really cute on this style of dress. I think they're beautiful, and instead of facing, I used bias binding. I just happen to have this perfect brown color in my stash that I'm pretty sure I got secondhand one time when I was out and about. And the buttons are all secondhand as well. This one also has my little handmade label inside, and I love it. If you've seen any other videos on my channel, you may have already seen this little corduroy skirt before. She's so cute. I love this one. I made this as one of my make, do and mend video challenges. I actually self-drafted this skirt using my own measurements, and I'm so glad that I did. I've never had a skirt fit me this well. I'm going to be making so many more of them this year. Short ones, long ones, belted ones, all types. I got the corduroy from Lifeline. I think it was $5. I think I added up how much it cost me to make this skirt, not including labor, because labor is important, and it was $7.50, which is crazy to me. She's got a little zipper in the back and a little button closure. The corduroy is so fluffy because it just picks up everything. It's so annoying. And finally, we have the last piece that I made this year. This little periwinkle blue dress. I made this using a double gauze fabric. I think I self-drafted the whole thing. The sleeves actually kind of look like an M8036, which wouldn't surprise me. I made this many months ago, so to be honest, I can't remember everything. The collar I definitely think is from that McCall's 8180 pattern. The lace is not sitting very flat. I got the lace secondhand. We have a little keyhole button closure in the back. The button was one random one out of that jar that will never end. She's got a little elastic gathered waist, pockets, and it's a little short one. So my go-to look for this is to wear it with a brown belt and little brown shoes. It's the perfect, like, another one of those dresses that can make you feel really fancy in the summertime, but are also really, really comfortable. And I think it's something that I could layer up as well. I am always so undecided on this dress because I've put it in the bag to take to the op shop so many times because it just doesn't look very nice on the hanger. I don't know if many double gauze things do. It kind of looks a bit like a potato sack. There are things that I would change about it, like I just don't think the collar quite meets in the right place in the front or in the back. But somehow when I put it on, it looks so flattering, so I don't know what that's about. I don't think I have any photos of me wearing this. If I do, I'll insert one, but I'm pretty sure I don't. And it's just one of those ones where I have to remember, like, don't donate this, like, keep it. It looks really good on you and it's really comfortable and every time you wear it, you love it. But it's one of those ones where, like, when I look at it in the cupboard, I'm like, oh, it's a bit extra, it's a bit much, but it's actually so cute and I love wearing it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, I am so impressed by you. This was a lot of clothing to get through. I'm really proud of how much I made this year. I'm really proud of the quality of the work. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are always things that just don't work out when you're sewing, and that is so okay. I think this year I really wanted to concentrate on making some beautiful dresses that I would really enjoy wearing and I would feel really good in. For next year, I would like to make more true vintage patterns. And I think I'd like to make more basics. I want to make more elasticated pants. I want to make more flowy skirts, more knits like t-shirts and mock necks, and maybe more just like stretchy shorts to wear around the house for when I'm doing my admin work at home. I think I want to go back to basics next year. So next year, if I make one of these, you may not see quite as many dresses, but I'm really, really happy with my wardrobe at the moment. I'm really grateful to be able to make this much stuff. And it's really fun to be able to give my clothing awards. So if you are also a maker, please tell me your garment that has been given the award of the most worn, the fanciest, the most sustainable, the best fabric and pattern match. If there are any other awards that you want to make up and contribute, please comment below and let me know what you've made this year and what you are the happiest about. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope all of you have a really safe and happy Christmas and New Year's, and I hope you get a little bit of downtime. I hope this year has been kind to you, and if it hasn't, I hope next year is a little bit better. Thank you so much. See you next time.